All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Drury. I'm the Senior Director here, about 9 years now with Choice Partners, and we're glad that you're here. I tried to say hello to most of you guys as you walk in, but I know we see some familiar faces around here. He already left, Joe somewhere, but some guys that have been with us since the 1980s and some guys that were on January board. So we have a large spread as far as people that know a lot about Choice and people that don't know a lot about Choice. So we hope to refresh some of our old friends and help educate and guide. I say, yeah, Lakeshore. We get, we got a lot of old friends, but then try and help some of you new guys. Let us help you sell more. That's our only thing. We're a method of procurement. Let us help you sell. And we've got folks virtual also. I'll do one real quick housekeeping. Michael and I were just talking on virtual. We don't have capacity. Sometimes we'll have a separate person watching the chat. Please put something in the chat, but we won't do it in a real time. As we switch speakers, we will go to the chat and look and see if there are questions or whatever, either have that speaker or even the next speaker or whatever address those. So please don't be shy about questions or issues, concerns, things you have. All right. So is anybody in here new to Choice, but they've worked with other co-ops? Okay, a couple of those. Okay. Anybody just brand new to co-ops in general? Okay, good. All right, so a little bit of everything. So, okay, we're going to go through and talk about the agenda. I'll try and get a lot of times everybody tells me to cut it off, so I'm going to try and get it as quick as I can. I've got some slides introductory and then just some general slides, and we'll go into other parts of kind of legal. Why are co-ops even exist? Kind of a little bit about who Choice Partners is, how we're structured, and go from there. So go ahead, Michael. I think oh, I have it. Okay. All right. I can do it now? Nope, not yet. Okay. That was you, not me. So, okay. So they're just looking at the slides right now, right? Okay, good. You guys virtual are lucky. They're not like you. You guys have to look at me still. But anyway, I'm going to try. I guess I don't have to worry about staying right here either, so I can move around. A lot of times we stay over there because we stay in the camera range. So anyway, this is our group. This is all of our folks that are part of Choice Partners. There's 19 full-time employees. I think we're up to about 6 or 7 field reps also. So we've got people here, there, and everywhere. We're a national purchasing cooperative. And I would imagine probably a number of the folks that are virtual, outside of some of our folks that came from the East Coast, a lot of the virtual folks are probably outside the area also, as far as vendors that may have been awarded outside Houston or Texas area. So that's us. No, I don't think this is our agenda. I'm going to try and catch up on, I probably won't be done in 4 minutes, but I'm going to try and catch up a little bit, but I'll do the intro. Then we'll talk a little bit about legal. Steve, one of our contract managers. Then we'll go to food and cafeteria contracts, growing your business, kind of marketing, how we can help you. Break for lunch. We'll have a box lunch here. Talk a little bit about JOC at the last. And the reason for the JOC is some folks in the room don't deal with that. So we give you a chance to just break for lunch and go about on your way if you're not a general or a trade contractor. And then closing, we'll try and get you out of here by 1. Restrooms, if you walk out the door, right on the other side of the wall here, both of them. If you would, I just remembered a minute ago, silence your phones, at least the folks here local. And we may have a little bio break somewhere in here, but feel free if you need to go use the restroom, just you're not bothering us, and just go, take care of that, or a phone call you see you need to take. Just please don't be the guy yelling in his phone as we're doing the presentation. guy or gal, that'll be equal opportunity there. All right. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, I thought it was already out. Okay. All right. That's what I was doing. Okay. Did you do any amen? Okay. Okay. This is our first slide. We just like to say the contract is broader than HCDE. I'll explain HCDE in just a moment. Real quick, we're all employees of HCDE, Harris County Department of Education, and we're in the Choice Partners Division, and that's all I'll talk about right now. We deal with school districts, charter schools, counties, municipalities, colleges, universities. I hope a lot of these people are either customers you have now or customers you want to penetrate or work more with in the near future using your Choice Partners contract. That's where we go. And we have not-for-profits also that are part of our member base. I should have said win-win-win. Well, that'll be more explained here. The win-win-win is, this is kind of a triangle. Is there anybody in here that understands what that is? Not you, Joe, or Lakeshore, Richard. Anybody not understand? Okay. This is kind of our little triangle. This is kind of how our little business model, if you will, works with a purchasing cooperative. A lot of people just say, I always want to ask this question, but I don't want to get the answer because I know nobody's going to raise their hand. How many people said, oh, the boss just said, there's something that you need to go learn, go, and it'll help you sell more, and I'll see you later. You know, a lot of the times people, they want to raise their hand and say, yeah, that's why I'm here. But we're here to kind of try and dig a little deeper and maybe really help you do what you do. I mean, me personally, I was in sales for 30 years before coming here, or whatever, a long time. And so I feel what you vendors are like. I was with the Choice Partners vendor too. So you know, I understand. You're like, okay, I don't care about all this. Just tell me how to sell more. Well, there's a process to it, because on the government side, you know, that's the only reason that we exist, is because there's this slow process. They have laws, they have regulations, they have statutes, they have government codes, all those type things, you know, chapter this, Texas government code this, statute, all that type stuff. And we'll talk about that when I'm done. So what happens, this little pointer work? Let's see. No. So what happens is a member, we use the word member, that's a governmental entity, and a Choice Partners vendor. What Choice Partners is us, the lead agency or the purchasing cooperative, and then the vendor, that's you guys. All three work together. There's an interlocal agreement that people use. Some people use the term piggyback. There's an interlocal agreement that's executed by and between the member, the ISD, the city, the university, whatever. They sign a document with us called an ILA, and it allows them to use our contracts. And so that's what we're doing, is we are basically doing exactly what the governmental entity does. We just make it easier for them. We have a document, and everybody that's an awarded contract holder has that document. Some people use the term fishing license, some people use the term hunting license. It allows you to go out and work with those guys a lot easier than responding to multiple street solicitation bids all day, every day. You can use this document as being qualifying you as being vetted legally and competitively to respond to their requests, their quotes, or whatever they're looking for. So we've got the interlocal agreement that's executed between us that allows them to use our contracts. You guys are familiar with the reason you're in this room is you've been notified. I've got an awarded contract. Here's your contract number. You know, if we do these things on a quarterly basis, here's your contract number. This is what you can use. This is all you need to put on your PO or your quote and or your PO I mean, the vendor would put it on their PO. I'm sorry. You put it on the quote, they'll put it on the PO. But when you transact business, to allow the vendor, in case they get audited, instead of someone saying, oh, this is over some threshold, $50,000, you need to, the auditor will say, oh, that's supposed to go out on the street. That's supposed to be a solicitation on the street. Oh no, we've got the Choice Partners contract. We use this instead. Now there's still possibility that the member may want one quote, two quotes, three quotes, just whatever. but this allows you to transact business on a legal basis by using our contract. And then the member will send a PO, job order, contracted services agreement. We could talk a little bit more about that maybe in the job portion, but you guys all know what a PO or a job order is. That's how you get started. That's how you get to work. That's how you get people going, or how you pull something off the shelf and ship it or whatever. So that's kind of like the little triangle that we use. That's our business structure. Am I going too slow? How come you can hit it and I can't, Mike? Okay. Why is it not going? Okay, so I just talked about HCDE a little bit. HCDE, I'm not going to read everything to you, but we're actually we're not Harris County. We're Harris County Department of Education. At one time, the state of Texas, there are 254 counties in the state of Texas. At one time, there were 254 county departments of education. 253 of them have gone by the wayside. There's one left, and it's the largest county in Texas, third largest county in the United States is Harris County Department of Education. They've all been replaced by the 1,200 or so school districts. They started migrating from, we started in 1889. In the early 1900s, I believe, they started becoming school districts. So a lot of the school districts, as school districts became more popular, these county departments of education had no use and they were gone. Well, this one has survived and thrived doing a number of different things, but that's kind of a little bit of history about who we are. We are a division within this Harris County Department of Education. There's still a local taxing authority also, and been around for a couple of years as it shows. There we go, that worked. This is kind of if you can almost, we used to have a little graphic that was kind of neat. It kind of like had a house and all these 5 major divisions as pillars. And you can see that Choice Partners is one of the additional divisions within Harris County Department of Education. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but you can see a lot about what HCDE does out there, other divisions outside of what Choice Partners is. So,
excuse me.
Yes.
So just so I understand.
Absolutely.
So
HCDE.
They're like.
Right. Badge, everything says HCDE on it. Just the division that we run is this National Purchasing Cooperative that's Choice Partners. That makes sense. It's like being a subsidiary, but in government, you're not really a subsidiary. We're just one of the divisions within this kind of this umbrella. And that's why I like that little graphic that had houses. You know, this is the whole house. These are all the different rooms in the house, if you will. We're one of the rooms down here, Choice Partners. Okay. That's a good question, because I think a lot of people leave here and go, I still don't know what HCDE is. I hope that might have helped. But anyway, this is the first full year we've had a rebate program. A lot of you guys probably contributed to us giving back some money to your members. I mean, we had hundreds of members receive money on the rebate program, and many hundreds of thousands of dollars, just under $1 million, but it was a nice little rebate program to start the first year. And we hope it just keeps growing and growing. And every time somebody talks to us, possibly even because of that rebate program, it comes back to you guys in more sales. So that's what we're not, you don't contribute to it, anything like that. We don't ask you to. So it's a neat thing. We call it Choice Cash, and it's something that it's been very successful this first year. We just finished the last fiscal year, and I probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks be mailing out checks to all the members and school districts and things like that. Well, not just school districts, cities, counties, universities. All right. So before Steve gets started, this is just a picture of all the contract managers. Everyone that's awarded in here had an awarded contract from one of our contract managers. And I'll just, I don't need to name them. You can see it. Michael, Ashley, Monique, Steve, and Tammy. And it kind of says a little bit about what they do. So it might be good if you know what type contract you have, whether it's commodity, food, construction, trades, whatever, as to see kind of a picture, and they're probably all in the room here as to who might have written your contract. It's always good to get to know these guys. They can help out with a lot of questions. They're our first line of defense as Choice Partners working with you. I'm a few minutes over. And it's hard because he's probably worse than me, but I'm going to say the next person is this legal next? Yes. Okay, there we go. And next, we're going to start talking about the legal side. We're going to have one of our contract managers, Steve Gibson, talk about kind of legal, some of the requirements. This isn't just for you to know what you have to go through, or what your customers have to go through to order goods and services.
How we doing?
Oh, wow.
Everybody hear me? Awesome. Everybody ready to see Taylor Swift this weekend? Yeah, I knew the response. Don't feel bad about sitting in the back rows. When I was in school, I was exactly the same way. So to introduce myself, my name is Steve Gibson. I am a contract manager with Choice Partners. I've almost been here 4 years, not quite. So I'm kind of a toddler, but I've been working in public and private sector purchasing for nearly 20 years. I've worked for a national law firm. I'm not an attorney. Get that right off the plate. I did purchasing. But my experience, I've worked for San Jacinto River Authority on their GRP project, a big old construction CMAR. Nice project. And I have now been working for Choice Partners for 3 years. So I was a member before I started working here with San Jacinto River Authority. It was my introduction to cooperative purchasing. I had a building, had a roof leak. You know, we build these nice new buildings, and it's the hardest thing ever. You know, if you work in waterproofing or God bless you, that is something else. You're very appreciated. But it was nice not to have to procure that because I needed it fixed now. That's one of the benefits of the Choice Partners contract. Members are able to do business now. Okay, just as a disclaimer, I mentioned I'm not a lawyer. Neither are you. And you should know your contract, but you should not be responsible for any interpretations. You're not giving any legal advice to the members whatsoever. That's their job. And if they do have questions, please consult your attorney. It's a contract deal. That's what they should do. The best way to approach your contracts, when you've established that need, or at the time you're getting ready to put your quote on a PDF, getting ready to send it to them, that's the time to start talking about, the type of contract. Choice Partners is a method of procurement. It is also a contract. So you say to your member, would you like me to save you some time and money and quote you cooperative pricing? I see you're a member of Choice Partners. Would you like to take advantage of your Choice Partners membership? This will save you some time or save you some money, however it is. This is a very, very good way to introduce the contract. You don't really need to introduce the contract before you've established that you can help them. And I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on. So to reiterate, you're not obligated to interpret the contract. The shorter, the better in the explanation. What is Choice Partners? It's a legally procured contract that you can piggyback onto based on your Choice Partners membership. Keep it real simple. The legality is key. Why that's a big deal? Let me give everybody a test. We all know these because we're public servants, right? So we are a public entity, right? Fill in the blank if you can. As public entities, We are blank of public funds. Anybody? Stewards. Awesome. Okay. Yes, exactly. You probably heard that at some point in the past. But yeah, do people ever go to jail in public entities? Probably heard about one recently. So yes, they do. You can't just, say, I want to do business, whatever. There has to be a method of procurement. That's what Choice Partners is. So that's why this is pretty important. The contract works because it covers the legal. Click me, please. There it is. Okay. Because it covers the legal and the material needs of the public entities. And the goal is to do it quickly. Members buy, vendors sell. You're not a member, you are a vendor. Vendors sell, members buy. Aspects and perspectives of the contract, just important to kind of, understand, why is this a big deal? Well, your contract has to cover a lot of different areas from a lot of different aspects and perspectives. So the first one has to cover the vendor's needs to do business with the member and has to cover the member's needs. Both of those things have to be arranged for, and they shouldn't conflict. Everybody should be on the same page. It has to work with a variety of public entities, and all these laws up here are examples of the various entities. So we've got education, K through 12, got universities, you've got cities, counties, municipalities, you've got state agencies, you've got nonprofits, you've also got contracts that could be with all of these that might use federal funds. The law, there are various laws. Sometimes they conflict in the Choice Partners contract. The stringent law applies. So the stringent most interpretation of the law will apply. And that's one of the reasons that we can work with different entities that are subject to different laws or different statutes and codes. So I'm not going to talk a lot about any of these. As I said, it's not critical that you understand it. The people that you are selling to, and I'm not saying every person in that entity is going to have an understanding of it, but the ones who sign those purchase orders to you will. It is their responsibility to know this. But you should know that it's in there. It is a very, very good contract. It covers a lot of grounds with a lot of different types of entities. Goods versus services. It has to work with both of those. Some of y'all sell products, some of y'all sell services. And it has to work with a variety of entities, of industries, sorry. So, the best co-op will be able to have a contract that satisfies your industry, whether you're selling food to schools. How many are in food? Anybody in food? Raise your hand if you're, okay, I don't have anybody from food. We're going to talk about it anyway, because we do have virtual members in food. But the best co-op will be able to handle your industry. If you're in construction, if you're selling commodities, if you're selling curriculum, contract has to handle all of that. So your contract covers these things from a variety of angles. And I think that's all I had from that. Let's move forward. As I mentioned, move this contract slide up. School food is one of our divisions inside of Choice Partners, and they'll talk in a little bit. Technology is another group of contracts we offer. Commodities or supplies, services, and construction. Choice Partners has about 400 to 500 different vendor contracts, and we have contracts in all of these areas. Business foundations. If you are ever in a situation and you are asked to co-op Choice Partners, what is that? This slide is for that reason. What is the foundation? What is the reason this is necessary and needed? Both member and vendor are striving for a simple path to a successful transaction. Remember that. You, as a vendor, want to reduce your cost of sales, and a member will want to reduce their cost of procuring it. You might not be aware of how much it costs a public entity to issue a purchase order. And I've seen math on that says it'll cost them about $70 per purchase orders. And some entities, it might be upwards of $200. It costs a lot of money because they have to do their own procurement. They can't just buy from, I know a guy. They're not allowed to do that. They have to have free and open competition. Because of that, cooperatives exist. At its essence, the cooperative contract is an agreement to supply IDIQ, I'll talk about that in a moment, a predetermined product or service at a predetermined cost to a predetermined set of customers. In federal government contracting, IDIQ is an abbreviation for the term indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. And if that sounds confusing, just remember, you may have an entire catalog of goods or services. You don't know what they're going to choose. You don't know when, you don't even know if, and you don't know who. But that's really what IDIQ is trying to say. It is set up in a way that they can say, oh, here's a deal, there's a contract behind it. This looks good for me. Let's do it. And it should be very, very fast. Now, if you're in construction, you're still going to have to put together estimates. That's completely normal. And Michael is going to talk about that too. There could be reasons why they do need to get competitive quotes. In most cases, we are designed so that they don't have to. But you remember, every entity will have different governing laws and different internal purchasing policies. Let them tell you what to do and let them tell you what they need. Some reasons why your government customers are using cooperative purchasing. This is the National Institute of Government Purchasing did a survey. These are the 3 items: lower prices, lower administrative cost, and more favorable terms and conditions. These are, by that survey, the top 3. I'd like to introduce you to a few more. And just as a contract manager interacting with members and vendors, this is what I see. One, it's completely authorized by Texas government code. Also, many other states. Our biggest states are Texas and Florida, but we are in a lot of other states. I don't know the total number if it's 43 or 44, but chances are your member can join us. Get the project or purchase started immediately. That is important. That's a big deal. Like I said, I had a water leak. I needed it fixed. I didn't have time to write up a spec and ship it off to a few. I needed somebody to come down here, tell me what where that leak is and how they're going to fix it. Established pricing. The pricing is an important part of your contract. Just in general, you want to make sure that everything you will buy or sell a government entity is in that pricing sheet or is accounted for in that contract, so that when you do make that transaction, that's what they're going on. That is the deal. So you have to have the deal. Flexibility and convenience is another one. Let's say that you have in the past had responded to an RFP and been awarded a contract, and they like you so much they want to continue to use you after that contract expires. This is a time to introduce to your member that that you do have a cooperative solution to where they can do that, especially if the timing is not convenient or they don't want to issue an RFP. The choice partners, again, method of procurement. They can procure their way, issue an RFQ, multiple quotes, or they can use our contract. Their choice. Reduce procurement cost and risk. Oh, I skipped. Shift procurement resources to more complex or needed entities. There are a lot of transactions out there that are really low risk, and the competition in the market almost guarantees a good price. They don't want to be spending all their time here. They want to be working on their more complex projects that require a lot of time and thought. And they can work with established vendors. So if you are a known quantity, people like you, they have no need to reprocure that. They can use this contract. Benefits to y'all as vendors, less time and risk per sale. Hopefully, that's the goal. You are doing business based on your relationship with them. Repeat business, single award potential for multiple entities. Okay, you've won One Choice Partners contract. You should be able to use that with all your different entities. Your pricing is established. The procurement has been done legally, compliantly, competitively. We've got you covered there. More relationship sales, less RFPs. And relationship sales are one of these things. As I said, the best time to introduce the co-op is after you have introduced yourself and your service and defined a need. If you haven't established that they have a need you can fill, it doesn't matter if you're on a co-op or not. You always have to get to that need first. But you do need to communicate that. Make sure you put it on your quote. Put it on your invoices. Make sure you do that. This helps them classify this so that they don't get in auditing trouble later on. You can propose on needs that are never bid out, and the not to exceed pricing applies to all of our members. And just remember, you can quote somebody more advantageously to them. You just can't quote them more. It's not to exceed pricing. So if you need to reduce the price to gain that sale, to gain that business, to make it work, you can. You just can't charge them more. And then there's a pre-qualification factor. There is a pre-qualification factor in it. That's not to say that you're automatically in just because you have a cooperative contract, but it is a darn good step in the right direction. I like to use this slide, orders of benefit, because it introduces, how you would sell the contract. So I always like to think of it like a layer cake. The first goal is always help the customer. Next layer on that is get what they want. Find out what their need is. Help them get what they want. I mean, if it's not you, hopefully you give them an idea of where they can go. You don't just leave them in the dark. Build that relationship. Help them get what they want from you, hopefully, if you can fill that need. Lastly, it's got to be done legally and compliant. And this is where the cooperative comes in. Remember, it's a pre-existing contract, but when you've established the need, it actually is one of the last things to think about. It's probably not going to be the first part. They don't think, I need a co-op first and I need the product or service later. Always stay focused on filling that need and listen to your customers. I'm going to talk a little bit about reporting requirements. And pardon if I haven't stopped for questions. If you're online and you send them in the chat, we can address them. But I'm going to move a little bit fast, and if anybody has questions, just raise your hand and I'll address it as they come in. Reporting requirements. You do need to report your sales. Make sure you do so when the sale's final. So if you suspect that there could be a return or something on there, wait till that sale's final. The vendor is responsible for submitting one consolidated report monthly. We have these online. It's an Excel template. We'll look at that in just a moment. And they shall be mailed if you are in commodities or non-facilities services. It'll always go to supply reporting, choicepartners.org. If you have a JOC contract, which is job order construction, and Michael's going to talk about that, facility reporting at choicepartners.org. And there are food vendors online, I know. There are none in the room, but food reporting at choicepartners.org for food. This is what that monthly reporting form looks like. So pretty obviously, I've kind of put it in there, amalgamated industries here. We're filling out amalgamated industries monthly report. So put the name on it. Put the month ending, let's say it's month ending February, year 2024, name of the person, courtesy please. Put the date you're submitting on it. Okay. What I want to point out, yep, let's fill it out. Okay, this is a big sale, 65,000 and some. Looks like I have an extra zero in there. We'll pretend we didn't see it. University of Texas, the purchase order number and the contract number. This is how you would fill that report out. A couple things to think about is remember, for the month ending February, you'll turn that in March. Okay, question. Hold on one second. Let me get you on mic. Okay, it's working.
Yeah, is this online? This,
Hold on, say it in the mic, please.
yeah, is this presentation online that we can see it? Because it's pretty small.
Gotcha. Yes.
Is this Excel form available in the vendors section of your website?
Yes.
And when you're indicating the dollar values, should it be on a cash or an accrual basis?
You had to ask a question I can't answer. It should be the amount on the purchase order. Okay, so it should be on the amount of the purchase order, or if you want to go into the actual amount that is paid to you. I think I've got someone with better accounting knowledge here. I'm going to actually let her answer that because she's actually got the credentials.
So that report is for supplies. Normally on a supply one, it's once the PO is completed, the full amount. If it's a jock, it's a different form that you can have active, but not completed. So if you know, it's going to be 3-4 months. We don't want you to pay us before you've been paid. And so it's a different report that has a section at the bottom that says currently active. So in process. It depends. If you're a job that's not, that you want to report it that way so that you get paid before you report it to us and we invoice you the admin fee, then you would record it on that place.
So it would be okay to report it on in the month that the money actually comes in?
Yes, as long as you're reporting the activity that is pending, so that we know, because yes, because then it'll move from the pending area to the completed section. And there's a space that will also have like percentage completed. So we know, sometimes, you know, we've seen it where it's been there for a while and it's been at 95%. So we're able to reach out and say, hey, is this completed? And it just wasn't moved over. Janet just brought up blanket POs. Blanket POs is when they issue you on those, we need them reported as you're filling them. On the member side, we ask them to report them once they've been completed so we can reconcile it against what our vendors have reported.
Okay, just as a summary, in case people did not hear all of the questions that were asked, we're trying to answer that question. Okay, when do I turn in this report? And it is perfectly okay when that check hits your bank. You know, when you get that check, that is fine. And that will be good for most people. And then the other thing, if it is a blanket order, okay, let's say it's $100,000 for the year, the same thing applies. You know, when it's final or when the check hears the bank. I've got one question before you, sir.
You answered my question.
Okay. Okay, have I? Okay, all right, so, you know, the past due, yeah, do your best to collect that because we want that money too, right? Okay. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Oh, most important on this page. Where do I send it? Where do I send it? Right there. I can't make my clicker work. Can you hit the space bar or something, Michael? There it is. There, right there. Supply reporting, choicepartners.org. This is for. Yeah, there's a question on chat. Let's see if we can address it. On the previous screen. Oops.
There's a date next to the member's name, with the PO date, with the date of the PO.
All right.
So the date that's here is that's the PO date.
Okay, good question. There's a column in the date is the question online. They asked, is that the purchase order date? And the answer is yes. So this is purchase order information you're putting down.
Question is, what is involved? The question is, what is involved for our customers to become members of Choice Partners?
Excellent question. What is involved? Let's say you have a customer and they're not yet a member of Choice Partners. We can make them one very, very quickly. Basically, if they're in Texas, they will need to sign an interlocal agreement. We will make their membership active as soon as we receive it. If they are a nonprofit, we'll have an agreement for a nonprofit that they will have to complete. And they will also have to do a 1295. I'll let Janet talk on that later, so.
If you have a potential, sorry, if you have a potential customer. If you have a potential customer that falls into the category that can become a member, meaning they're a non-governmental entity or not-for-profit, they must become a member first. If they require an ILA, we have to have that in-house before funds can change from them to you. Otherwise, their purchase will not be compliant with the law. So we want to be very sure that you get that step done before they pay you. You can start business, you can talk business, but don't let any funds change between you until they have been declared a member. And if you have a question, just call us and ask us and we can confirm.
Okay, thank you.
And perhaps you're going to go into this later, so we could put it aside for now, but what you just said, is that only in respect to non-governmental and nonprofit organizations? We were under the impression that once a government entity signs, completes the membership form online and signs the interlocal agreement, even before you countersign the interlocal agreement, they can begin to make purchases as a Choice member.
They're a member then. We're just saying, make sure that's done though, before they give any funds. We're just saying, don't let funds change hands between your potential customer and you, see, before it's been solidified.
Okay.
Yeah, confirm that their membership, confirm that with us before you actually have that transaction happen. But yes, we will make their membership active as soon as they give us everything we need. We're not waiting on a counter signature on it. We will have that. But first, just make sure that they've done their part. And you can talk to your contract manager. They will be able to help you with that.
How can we verify if any of our clients are already Choice Partners members?
Okay, I think I'm gonna let Janet talk about that in her presentation. So just put that one on hold. So I've got to move along or we're gonna run everybody late. But it is a good question. There's a very easy answer. Just we're gonna let Janet talk about it. Okay, this is for construction. This is what the reporting form looks like. I'm gonna let Michael talk about that. So I'm gonna skip ahead. Because I'm almost done. Are y'all ready for the quiz? I'm not kidding. All right. Can you hit me? Click. All right. They say put a picture to make sure that people are paying attention, put pictures in your slide proposal. So I decided to do that. They've actually shown that the farmers who talk to their cows, those cows produce more milk. It's true. Communication is important. I always say it's in one ear and out the other. But that's just me. Y'all can shout out the questions and we're going to see if you are right. It's appropriate. Number one, it's appropriate. These are all true, false for the most part. It's appropriate to offer better pricing and discounts to Choice Partners members than the contracted Oh, I didn't mean to do that. All right, we're gonna cover the answers, so don't worry. We're gonna let y'all shout it out first. It's permitted to add this choice partners administrative fee to your quotation. Okay. Pricing may be changed at any time in the contract period. Negative. Okay, awesome. Each invoice shall include the choice partner member's purchase order number and the HCDE contract number. You guys are really kicking it. Awesome. New items may be added to the contract pricing or catalog. C, good deal. Following the HCD's approval, vendor standard terms and conditions must be abandoned when using the choice partners contract. Okay, I heard false, so we're going to let that sit as the consensus for the room. 7, cost plus percentage of cost is an acceptable method of I added some new ones, y'all. It does change every time. Cost plus percentage of cost. Can we use this contract on the choice partners? Can we? Cost plus percentage of cost. And the answer, let's say that I'm going to buy this for you, but I want 10%, but you can buy more. And I continue to earn 10% on. No, that's an illegal form of contract under the feds, under the uniform guidance. So no on that. You cannot use cost plus percentage of cost on the choice partners contract. I wasn't supposed to explain it. I know. What does IDIQ stand for? B. Okay. All right, let's look at this one. So y'all are correct. And I'll put the section in the RFP is, if you have the printout, you'll have this on it. We might be able to do them a little bit differently if they're too small to view. Actually, if I send you the PDF, you could blow it up, wouldn't be a problem. It is permitted to add the CP fee to the quotation. That is false. Pricing may be changed at any time in the contract period. That is false. Each invoice shall include the CP member's purchase order number. And that is true. New items may be added to the contract pricing catalog following approval from HCDE. Send it to your contract manager. We can normally do this. Vendor standard terms and conditions must be abandoned, and that would be false. And I've given you some contract references. Cost plus percentage of cost is an acceptable method of contract. And this is false, section 231 is where that's written. And the last one, yes, you are right, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. So we have covered, what to do when you're awarded, what the contract is, the procurement of it. We've talked a little bit about the admin fee and how you can charge it. We've talked about reporting. I think we even talked a little bit about the invoicing side of it. So that's all I have. I want to thank everybody, and I'm going to let our contract administrator from our food division of Choice, Monica, talk to y'all. And enjoy the rest of the food. We will have some sandwiches a little bit later.
Good morning. Okay, you can hear me now. Thank you. All right, just as Steve and Jeff mentioned, food is a small piece of Choice Partners. So I'm gonna speak briefly about it. I am Monica Niles. Like you said, I'm the contract coordinator. The rest of my team could be here. So I'll just go ahead and introduce them real briefly. Trisha, you may have met her already. She was actually down here earlier, but she had to be in a meeting with our attorney. So Trisha is in the middle. Rosie She's our contract assistant. Ashley Kane is our contract manager. Like I said, I'm Monica for the, I'm the coordinator. All right, so here is just a list of all of our food contracts, food and cafeteria contracts. I know we said there wasn't any food people in the room, but I know there's, like I said, it's cafeteria. So we do have like food equipment contracts. So these are all of our, a list of all of them for this year. Something to bring up is just that our commodity processing of USDA foods is brand new for the new school year, 24-25. So that will be issued. And then we're doing a new commercial food distributor bid. That's not because it expired or it is expiring. It's just to stay compliant with TDA. We're just coming over the threshold for how many, I guess, schools can be on the contract. So we have to redo that, do that bid. Okay, the slide isn't in there, but I'll speak about our upcoming annual food show. Just wanted to let you guys know that it's October 10th. It's, like I said, it's annual, so we do it every year. It'll be at the Humble Civic Center. We encourage and would love for you guys as vendors, food vendors, to come and be a part of it. The invites will go out during the summer. Okay. And that's all I have. Like I said, I'll speak briefly. Yes.
Thank you so much. A quick question in regards to the contracts. Is this going to be included in like your list of vendors? Like, do you guys have a list of food vendors already available that fall under these categories?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay,
Mhm.
fantastic. So everyone that's coming on October 10th would be considered a food vendor.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Food vendor or food or cafeteria. We also have, items that is not food, but it's related to cafeteria, such as chemicals,
Okay,
things like that. So yes, all of our vendors will be
Okay.
the ones on there.
fantastic.
Mhm. Yes, you're welcome. Any more questions? And I do have business cards for Trisha and myself and our contract managers here, but they may be down before everyone gets dismissed, just to introduce themselves as well. But if there are no more questions, I am done. Any questions on there? All right, good. I will turn it over to you, Janet. Okay.
There you go. I thought you had one more. The reporting slide.
Different than kind of what Steve went over as far as reporting. So let's see. I have it. Yeah, so it's pretty much the same when it comes to the food reporting and how you're going to fill it out.
All righty. No questions. Thank you very much, Monica. Now, I'm using this because I don't have a gizmo to hang it on. Howdy, y'all. We've been here for a while and we really appreciate it. I love seeing the full house. This is great. I'm going to give you 30 seconds or less. Stand up, wiggle, get the jiggles out, whatever. You've been, this is early morning. I know you just ate breakfast and you have to get some room ready for lunch. So just kind of look around, do what you need to, and then sit back down and then we'll get started because I'm doing marketing. My name is Janet Walks. I'm in a different division than CP. So you won't see my picture up there, but I am the one that you work with when you're trying to get things going on your contract, whether it's actual collateral or out there doing some reach outs to your prospective some prospective customers. So let's take a seat and we'll get started here. So we have here, as you can see, several different ways to be able to reach out and use your contract. We want you to realize that you're here, but you might have sales folks back in your office, or you might have internal sales. And if they don't get the information you're receiving here, you're still not going to get the best benefit. So to give you the reason why I do this, my background is I was a sales rep for 2 different companies that were awarded by Choice. Then I also worked in K-12 as a substitute teacher, sometimes long, but long enough to learn the inner workings they have and what they require. And now I get to be on the co-op side and I love it. And of all the co-ops that are out there, I am definitely for Choice because it is the only co-op I'm aware of that supports a vendor as much as they do their member. And that for you should mean a whole lot, because what do you do with this piece of paper or this contract number we've given you? If you don't understand it, it's like not having the keys to the brand new car sitting in the parking lot. Jeepers, I want to drive, but I can't go anywhere, right? So let's see how you can begin. And always the very best place to begin is what? A bird in the hand, right? Your current customer list. Look over it and see who might fall in a category of who could be a member or might already be a member. That's who you want to start selling to. And you go, well, let me think about this. Am I going to lose money? Okay, I'm looking at it from y'all's point of view, right? And Jeff can just close his ears for a sec. But if you have a current customer and you were selling at a certain discount, but the co-op contract is a little below that, but you're going to do something good for your customer, what are you doing? You're building that customer relationship. You're taking to them an opportunity for them to get the same service and quality product at a capped price, maybe below. If you have a sales going on, you are allowed to use your sale through our contract. You just can't go over it, but you tell them this is cleaner procurement, quick movement. It's awesome to use. And we're standing behind it, and we have a whole co-op standing behind it, which gives you audit-proof procurement. Okay, their ears are going to perk up. It's not just in K-12. It can be in the county. It can be in a city. It can be at a university. All these people want to know that when they're dealing with you, you're squeaky clean, which makes them squeaky clean, and then they just can keep the cycle moving forward. So that's one of the things you can do. And then the next thing is you share with your sales reps, again, what we've been telling you. If you have a prospective customer that falls in the category, we don't do B2B, you do governmental entities and not-for-profits, then we can help you get them to become a member if they're interested, if they want to know more about it, and you can come at it from the way of training your sales rep. And I'm going to show you later in a few slides how to register to become a member, or if they're a member, how to get their own login so they can get quotes online, this sort of thing. The more informational you are, educational with your customers, our members, the better benefit you're going to get out of your contract. We said referrals from existing customers. We all know networking is what builds a lot of sales. So you want to do that. And can you collaborate with other choice partner co-ops? Choice partner awarded vendors, excuse me. That's a big yes. So say like we have someone here in the audience that sells paper. If we also had another vendor here that sold copiers, the two of them could come together and do a project together if they wanted to. Or I did have somebody who did the little cracks between sidewalks and stuff, and then if you had somebody else that said, well, I have a mini maintenance thing that falls under maintenance, not major construction, y'all could come together. There's different ways you could collaborate if you want to. We're not saying it's required in your contract, but if you think about it, review the list of awarded contracts. And that's what I was going to ask Steve to do. Maybe during our lunch hour, we can get somebody to bring down a list of awarded contracts to give to all of you so that you can see who the rest of our vendors are. Now, what you want to do to get into the information we're talking about today and to get the most out of your contract is go to the vendor login page. I'm going to tell you right now, there is a link right here that says set up a new account. That button shouldn't be there for vendors because we need vendors to utilize the one login that was created by your company when they registered to respond to the RFP. Okay, the same button that they registered to tell us about them is the same button or the same email they used to respond to the RFP. That's what you want to use. If you don't know it and you want to access it, contact your own company or you can contact your contract administrator. So let's stop right now. And this is my number one homework for y'all today. Before you leave, is there anyone in here as a vendor, new or old, that does not know who their contract manager is? Raise your hand if you do not know. Awesome, 100%. This is important because they're going to be very vital for the marketing as well as helping you out with other things. So what you would do is just go right here and fill in what they can give you. And if you don't know it, just contact your contract manager and we'll help you get that. What you do when you fill that in, boom, This is the magic place. This is the backbone of the website for you as a vendor. This is called our vendor dashboard. There are 5 buttons here that have all kinds of information you can access anytime. So you want to make sure you have that login. And then over here, we have several things that can bring you up to date of what Choice is doing, where we've been, and what's coming up. So I want to start here. The first button says view vendors. So what we're going to pass out later is a printed list we have. It's updated every month after we have a board meeting. So any approved, awarded new vendors are on there. Anybody whose expired contract has been taken off. So you can use that regularly. The next button is view members. Somebody had asked, where can I get a member list? It's right here. And there's 2 ways you can get it when you go there. You can get it either in a printed list or alphabetical, or you can get it in an Excel sheet. So you can move it around and pull it out by state or by that sort of thing. We have marketing resources. This is where I'm going to do a deeper dive with you in a few minutes. But we also have the eBid, and that's where you responded. And then we also have partner messages, and partner messages is going to be updated with new information as it comes out. Right now, it needs a little assistance, so give us some time, but we'll get that moving forward for you. Any questions about how you can access this? Because this is going to be one of your go-tos. All righty then. Did put this number up there so that you could reach your contract manager if needed. Now, when you hit the marketing resources page, this is at the top, and there's quite a few links we've peppered through here. And that's so that those are helping agents for you. If you've never worked with marketing to governmental entities, it's going to be very helpful. If you have, it's good as a refresher, or you can give it to your new sales reps. That'll be fine. So right up here, we have my number. So if you don't see it in the contact list, or you don't get my business card today, just remember you can go there, and that's directly to me, and we can help you with marketing. ESC region map. I don't know how many of you are unfamiliar with it, but in Texas, we deal a lot. Our co-op was started for K-12 industry, but we have expanded. Many people refer to their Education Service Center region. That's what ESC stands for. In the state of Texas, we have 20 regions. So if you click on that map, it'll actually tell you how we break up the state by county, by the region. Not us, Choice. It's the Texas Education Association does that. And so if you're dealing with K-12, they might refer to that. If you're dealing with the universities, it's a complete different map. Don't go by that. That is strictly for K-12. And then we have tips to market to the government. And we also have the list of members here. So you can get to that member list a couple of ways. We try and make it useful so that you know what is best for you. And then here is that vendor list. And that's what I had asked one of our staff to go upstairs and get and be able to pass out to y'all, because it should be in what you have now so you can network with others, or actually just see what else is available through Choice. We'll get to become a featured member in a minute, but I just wanted you to be familiar with that marketing resource page. Now, just having your contract alone requires you to do these things. You want our seal, and this is what we call our seal. We also have another layout called our logo. That is not what vendors use. Vendors only use the circular seal. You'll also get today, when you pass out, you've seen it right here. This is the seal that we ask you to display whenever you go out to any kind of conference, or you can display it in your office. It has a little back to it, so it stands up. But if you're at a conference or you're anywhere that you want to invite your potential customers in and they see this, that helps them identify you with our co-op. And then they can say, quick buying. I don't have to do my own RFP. So this is what we're trying to help you with. At the conference, you display it, but up here, please note, in your contract, we ask you to do at least 5 events a year. Not all our events, but we're just saying you need to exhibit at least 5 times a year. You can do more. You can do them in your, pardon me. In your new contract, just your contract or everybody's contract. Thank you for letting me know that. He asked if he stated and I can't, he shall remain anonymous. No. That it had changed in the contract to only be 3 conferences to exhibit at a year. And I will defer to the people that write the contracts. That would be, so it had.
This is Steve again, and I have seen the new templates. And the one on the commodity service side I've saw says 3. I don't know that if it's consistent among all of them.
All righty. So thank you.
I also don't know that that's a set thing, but we try to encourage you to go out and promote your contract. It's incredibly in your advantage to do so.
Absolutely.
So I would say if you do have a question on that, just talk to your contract manager.
Thank you, though. Thank you for bringing that up. But when you go out, that's where you use the seal I was just showing you. So the more you get out, what I was going to say, we have a list on our homepage under About Us called Events, and I can show you that slide in a little bit. It shows you where all we're going. So you have the option to go to the same conferences we go to, but you might have your own niche industry. You want to go to those conferences. Those count as well, but you want to go wherever you can promote your CP contract and get the most out of it. So as far as developing a marketing plan, that had to be turned in with your RFP bid. But if you want some assistance or some other eyes to look at it, I'd be happy to help you with that. We also have the option of doing ads in state magazines. We marketing advertise for CP in the Texas County Progress and a few other places. But if you wanted to be a part of that, you could call us and we could talk about how to do that together. And then there's also targeted emails. And I'm going to talk to you about how we can assist you with that as well at no additional cost. All of this is part of your admin fees. So that's one of the things about this co-op. Every co-op will have an admin fee for any vendor that's with them. Not all admin fees are the same. And I will say that many vendors are very happy with our admin fees. Can I just say it that way instead of talking negatively about what else is out there? I just came back from a conference for technology and people were very happy. So it's an option there. And then also the support this co-op gives vendors. I don't know of other co-ops. And when I was a vendor and I had the option to go with other co-ops, they didn't do training. They didn't come out and do like a warm call with us. We won't cold call for you. That wouldn't be correct in the way that we're the ombudsman for both the member and the vendor, but we can help you make a connection you've already started for maybe just an explanation of things. And that kind of support is invaluable in making sure your awarded contract is working for you, not just for the member. Ta-da. You promised me it would work. Oh, online? Sure enough. Do y'all mind? I mean, it might be what you're thinking. Okay. Could you tell them to please report sales and no sales every month? Absolutely. I've heard this regularly when I go up and down the CP halls, and they're talking about vendors who absolutely don't. They're like a no-show. They ghost us once they get a contract, and then maybe it takes them a while to get some progress going and get a purchase order from somebody, and they'll just no show, meaning they don't report monthly a 0. Just because you report 0 doesn't mean you're doing nothing, but at least we realize you're still communicating with us. You're providing us with some information. And somebody had asked that question. I believe it was the same anonymous gentleman in the hat. I'm sorry, just calling you up, but it was really cute. It was good the way you said that. Do I have to tell y'all if I only get a little bit here, or are they going to pay me some there? The idea that you at least tell us there is a project in the works. I've already been working with this customer. And then maybe a month later, you said, jeepers, they finally moved from thinking about it to planning it. And then the next month you go, yeah, I finally got the PO. We know you're working with it, and we'll be there to help you if you need to close that deal. But if you do 000 reporting, it just leaves us wondering, are you interested in the contract? Are you really promoting it? Do you want to be awarded? And we want that relationship to work. So did that answer this question?
That's that. I've got one more here.
Okay.
And just if you're going to cover it, just let me know. This question is only one person per company allowed to be signed up?
I think when you say signed up, you mean get a login ID, and we say that's really up to the vendor. If the vendor wants to have more than one login, or like you can give one login to multiple people, that's up to you. But if one person blows it and logs in too many times, it'll lock it. If you want to have more than one login, I would say contact your contract manager and be sure that it goes in well. Hold on just a second. More info.
I'm just gonna add to her, if you have turnover, which of course none of us have turnover, right? You want to make sure that you have an email that's associated with your account that someone is checking. We send renewals through the eBid system. If that person that did your bids is no longer there and that email is not forwarding, we don't want a chance that you're not going to get notification of that renewal. So we have some companies that have an bids at vendor name and multiple people have access to it. So you can have as many sign-ins, logins as you want. We just ask that you make sure whoever does have that access is monitored, because we don't want you to lose a chance at renewal. And on the zero reporting, we do want reports that say zero. We track every month. So when we're looking at renewals and we're saying, is this a vendor that is working the contract? Are they doing anything? If we haven't gotten any reports in 6 months, we're under the assumption that you're probably not promoting the contract. So that's why we do need that communication of you letting us know and reporting monthly, even if it's zero, because that does go on your tracker. And when we're evaluating at renewals, that does count towards, do we want to renew?
Absolutely. We do send out an email monthly to remind you. It's a monthly reminder. The reports are due on the 15th. We try and get it out at least by the 10th, but you will get that email reminder. But again, it's going to go to the email that's listed, and I'm going to show you a landing page that you each get. Each of you have your own mini website within our website, and that's the email she's talking about, because that's what the system pulls, whoever's listed first. So we can go with that. Steve had some more questions, but let me, can you make my gizmo move forward, and then I'll talk to you, because all it wants to do is point. Okay, what's one of the questions while we're moving it forward? Use the other gizmo over there, this thingy.
Okay,
Oh, it's not working.
it's not working.
Michael,
Let's talk to
need
this
some help.
question here. How can we verify if any of our clients are already part of Choice Partners members?
that's where you get that button that's on the vendor dashboard where it said become a member, or vendor view members. You can download that list and it'll be updated regularly every month with anybody we've added. So that's how you could verify it. And if you still can't find it, or you're questioning, maybe they're telling you, oh, I thought I registered, contact your contract manager. They'll contact marketing and we'll help y'all find out.
Okay, it seems to be working again. So
Wonderful. Time out.
I've got one more question though, if it's okay. When logging into the dashboard, it does not look like the one displayed during presentation to find a vendor list. Okay.
I just looked at it this morning and I thought,
Why don't we
we'll
pull it
check
up?
into that. Can we get back to you when we're going to take a break after my presentation is over? We'll go check the website again. We were having some updates done to it and we were having some hiccups. So we will check and get back to you if you can mark that. Be
Okay.
happy to, and thank you for letting us know.
Okay.
Senior Director has
They want to go in for back to the homepage, they can type in, go to contracts and vendors and type in a vendor. But I don't think there's a document that you produce that says these are all the vendors.
they don't get a copy of. I thought that had been there before. Yeah. Well, they can view vendors from the member dashboard. Oh, to the member list printed? Okay.
Somebody asking to be a vendor, look at vendors, no. Vendors, members.
This was the one right next. So we'll double check that and confirm. I don't know if anybody could hear what Jeff was saying, going by the PowerPoint presentation that was a picture from the website. So we'll make sure that they're together. No, that need to make sure that's clear. So this is what you will see when you hit the marketing resources button from the vendor dashboard. And we have at the very top, this is where we had talked to you about the guidelines. But there, if you scroll down a couple paragraphs below that, I told you you need to have the CP seal on your marketing collateral. That means any of your printed materials, if you send out anything to our members through eBlast, or if you're printing something, you want to use that seal. And this is where you get the guidelines of how to use it. And we have two forms, whether it's a PDF or the vendor seal with no white background in case you have a colored background. We want to make sure that it looks good. If you need a vector file or an EPS, any other various, again, my contact information is right there and you're able to get that from me. Okay, next slide. So we have the option for you to become a featured vendor in our monthly newsletter. This is really a very important way to get great advertising without paying the advertising bucks you would if you went to your own marketing agent. So what we do is we have a monthly newsletter that is posted on our website, and our website is seen, you know, it's World Wide Web, so it's everywhere out there. Plus it's available to all of our members, potential members, anybody else that wants to search. So that's coverage for you that you probably couldn't even pay for if you were just trying to do, I mean, we know how much the Super Bowl ad is. It's not going to be that much, but it is very expensive to do your own advertising. This is just one way. But we can't just say anybody and everybody that's a vendor can do this. You need to have at least 3 or 4 projects completed under your belt on our contract where you have finished it, the member has paid you, and the member is satisfied. Then we have a review. You can go to your contract manager. Again, this is why it's important to know who it is. And then they will take your request. We'll review it with every other contract manager. We have 5 of them, so we rotate monthly which one gets to suggest a vendor. And then we'll look at your sales. We'll look at your reporting. We'll look at your interest, how you've been doing. And we'll take them. It's not like we want to say no. There's just a lot of vendors, but it is your opportunity. If you're approved, then myself and Andre Cuellar, who is our marketing coordinator, will reach out to you. We'll give you a set of questions. We'll craft an article. We need pictures. This is extremely important. We want one that'll go right across the banner. So it'll be in landscape mode. So think of a big way you want to show yourself, as well as a couple of portrait packed pictures to pepper through the article. And then it's in our newsletter and it's out there for everybody to read as it's posted on our website. But we also send it out to all members and all vendors. So you're getting a lot of coverage as well as being on the web. So if somebody were to search your company name and you had been listed in our newsletter, it's going to come up and just pull it from the website. So let's see. Yeah, this tells you everything. Next button, please. Yes, ma'am. Oh, timeout. Just a second.
Thank you. I'm having a hard time logging into my vendor account. And so I'm going to get that information. But when we log there, is there a contract history we made that went through you guys or anything?
I'm going to let a contract manager answer that. Michael, are you? Stephen?
Okay. No, there is not. However, we don't put that on the website. It's not that we don't have it. So your reporting that you turn in monthly will be the record of that we would go to. We also have some electronic records, but it's not something we put onto the website.
I will just say that sometimes our IT connection here is a little bit hard to deal with. So if you can't get in, that could be part of it. But if you don't know the login from your vendor, I mean, from your own company, you could get that internally or meet with your contract manager before you go. All righty. Any other questions? Yes, sir. In the back. That would be the senior director. Jeff, no? Okay,
If you
Okay.
don't mind.
sure.
The question is, if we do work for someone in Choice Partners, I assume they mean a member, but they do not use a Choice Partners contract because it is a smaller job, do we need to report that each month?
Not sure I quite understand the question, but I'll address it this way. If you do work for a current member, but you didn't quote that work based on your CP contract, if you did not include your CP contract number on the quote to them and the PO they gave to you did not have it, then that's not our work and we cannot take it as a reporting. Correct, Jane?
Especially with our rebate, is the vendors might be using you because they go to Choice Partners, they find your file, they pull your due diligence and your pricing, and that's why they're using you. That communication has to be upfront, and we try to push that like with our members, letting them know you have to tell the vendor that you're using Choice Partners. It doesn't matter the size of it. They might be using you because you are already a Choice Partners vendor. If they're not, then they have to do their own procurement. They're going to go get their quotes. They're going to go do whatever they need to buy from you. So the whole point of Choice Partners is to make it much easier for them to buy on the co-op. So you just have to have that communication that are they using you because you're a Choice Partner approved vendor? Yes. Lopez. I'm the assistant director on the commodity side. I'm one of three. We have a food assistant director and we have one for facilities and construction.
Oh, no. So going by what the question was, that if you didn't hear, our director had another name, sweet name for Jane Lopez as J-Lo. Okay. But if they were saying they had already done the procurement, that's where I was saying, if they did the procurement without the contract number on there, I didn't think it could go retro, but you're saying maybe it can? Right. The PO should come first with the contract number on it.
We stress to our members that they have to have the Choice Partners info on the PO, like the contract number, but you also get calls of, hey, come do this job. So we understand that some of our like repairs, they don't get a PO, don't get a copy. They're doing business with that entity or that company because
Based
they're
on the
based
connection.
on the contract.
Steve, ask the person in the chat box if that answered their question.
I'll just say this on the rebate, when we're reconciling with what the members have reported, if it doesn't match up with what the vendors are reporting, that's when we're coming back to the vendor and saying, hey, they're saying they spent $100 with you that you didn't report. Can you verify? And we're doing a lot of due diligence on our side to find out you did get that PO, but maybe it came in differently. And we'll communicate with you. The vendor is saying that is a Choice Partners order. So especially now with the rebate, we're doing a lot of reconciliation and verifying usage and communicating to our vendors anything that's reported from the member side. Because we're just going off of them. They're the ones that actually have the record saying how they're procuring.
What was done.
Yes.
Did that answer the question, Steve? Okay. Well, you're still going to have, this guy didn't want to work. So if you could advance me, please. Yeah. Jeepers. Give me, ta-da. Now, this is another way we can help you with marketing. You can ask for our member contact list. And you're sitting there going, how am I going to use this? How am I going to get to everybody? We're here to help you with that. There's some requirements ahead of time, but they're very simple and mostly done. You have to have the CP seal on your website, and it needs to link back to your landing page within our website. Do not link it back to our homepage because that doesn't benefit you. We want you to link it back to your own link. Hello. I need that other. No. We were talking about. Whoa. Stop. Thank you. Very good. And your landing page tells you all about you. It has your website on there. It has contact information. It's extremely vital that you want anybody that is on your website going, well, what is this co-op thingy? And they link it back and it lists all the information. So you want to have the seal on your website. You want it to link back to your landing page on our website, and you have to produce a piece of marketing collateral. Collateral is a term that would be referred to if you're going to do a phone campaign, it's your phone script. If you're going to do an e-blast, I need a copy of the email. If you're going to do a flyer or something you want to hand out or post on your website, that is just printed material that whether it's digital or printed, I need to review it. And what I'm reviewing for is that you have the seal on it, your contract number on it, and there's certain verbiage we would like you to include that describes the relationship you have with Choice. It just helps anybody reading it to know that it's clean and clear procurement. Everything is kosher and ready to go. Other than that, you get to say whatever you want to say, including pictures, diagrams, whatever on your product and service. Okay. So with those things done, when you go to your contract manager again, tell them you want to get a member contact list. They will provide you with a link if those 3 things are done. And with that link, because everything's digital, then you fill out where you want to market to, because you can choose. Do you want just Texas? Do you want just a certain state? Do you want all of the US? Do you want to market to construction people? Do you want to market to just purchasers? You get the option of pulling from our contact list, whatever you want. Then you upload that marketing piece that I need to review. And when you hit submit, it comes to us. I'll review it. If there are revisions needed, I will send them back. And as soon as we get it where it's in line with what we need, then Andre will go into our database and pull out the contacts based on what you request yourself. But it's all done digitally. So you have to know your contract manager to request that link. All right. Any questions? Next slide. Oh, I love it. Are there any questions in there? Wonderful. Okay, what I want to do briefly now is give you a view of what our members see. This is good for you so that when you go meet with a potential customer and they're a member, you want to know what they're able to see and learn about you before you even get there, or what they might be searching for. So they have the same kind of login you do, but it's the member login. This is the place right here where it says set up a new account. You should teach any one of your sales reps or yourself, someone that's internal on the phone that can talk to them in the office, or if they go out and meet with them. How does a member set up a new account? What that means, it doesn't mean like a brand new membership. It means getting another login for somebody. We tell all of our members that they can have as many logins as they want. So just as an example, in K-12, you have business administration, but you also have an IT department, you have transportation, you have facilities and maintenance. They all have different needs, so they're going to want to access different contracts we have. But if they can each log in, they can shop on their own. And then when they send their request to purchasing will say, yeah, they're already an approved vendor. You can use them because we're part of the co-op. Okay. So next slide, they'll have filled that in and they get their own dashboard. This is what our members have. Their buttons are different than y'all's buttons. So this is where I was saying they can download a contract list, which is updated after every board meeting. So they can get it either as a PDF or digitally in Excel. And that allows them to take all of our awarded contracts. Some of our members must have our awarded vendors uploaded to their system to be marked approved vendor. So for them, it's just their world. They have to have it approved, but it's approved because it's through our co-op. So a member can get that. They can also go here and hit this button. It says current vendors. Current vendor button there takes them to your individual websites. It'll be a list of our vendors and they can look at it by category. They can pull it up by name. And I'll show you in a minute some of what those pages look like. The Get a Quote page right here is a warm lead for you. If you have any one of our members send you a Get a Quote request, that's a warm lead. That's not cold calling, usually. I can say sometimes they use it to budget and encumber funds if they shop in the fall for a spring event, like if they have something they know is coming up later, but they have to know how much it would cost. They're getting a quotes ahead of time, but it's still a warm lead, something you can send out. You want to be sure and do that. Here is the rebate portal. This is where you want to direct your members or your customers, our members. Say, once you get the PO and it's paid, we need you to upload it in the portal if you want to participate in Choice Partners rebate program. Okay. You as a vendor do not have to do anything for the rebate program, but you do your monthly reporting, and that's sufficient to help us establish what to give them. And then here is a button, and it's all about food. They have their own mini website within ours. So the next one. This is one of what landing page for a particular vendor that we have. And you can see we list what type of contract, the contract number. So if a member is trying to cut a PO, they can look right there. They can see that it's valid. And here we put the CP contract manager, because we tell our members that the contract managers are available to them as well as to you. We want that flow of integrated communication. Then over here, we also put up not just the website for the vendor, but also the area they can cover. So yours might not all be national. If you listed or whoever responded to the RFP put just Texas only, it would say that. We have few still that put in only certain regions in Texas, but mostly now it's all of Texas or national. Okay. Now what we have over here, and it's just laid out, we had to put it sideways, but it all kind of goes down the right side. This is the contact information for this vendor. Now, this is the email that Jane was telling you about. If we're going to send out news to the vendors, we're going to pull from this email, whatever person or email is listed first. We have room for 2 or 3. I even saw one vendor that had 4, and I didn't know the website could account for that. But generally we cut it off at 3, that whoever's listed first is going to get most of the contact information. And when you have get a quote from one of our members, it's going to be the first email listed. So go back and work with your contract manager, make sure that whatever person or email you want to use is listed there. Next one, I want to show them the other part. This is the other thing that contract managers need from you. They ask you to describe yourself where it says about this partner. If you do not describe yourself and provide it to them, all they can do is draw from your RFP response and craft it themselves and put it up there. That wouldn't be bad, but it might not just be everything you want. And know this is your mini website. If you have something you want to say differently, or something has changed, like Steve covered that it is possible that you could add a new product or service to your thing at the right time if it's approved. But you want to make sure it's included here so that when people read, they go, oh yeah, I was looking for that. It's listed. Keep in touch with your contract manager to maximize the benefit of your own landing page. Next. So this is the get a quote form and what it looks like when a member goes on it. Again, I'll just go over it briefly because it's not for you, but they have the option to select the category, and then they select the desired vendor, and then they describe the product or service they need. And then when we hit product, date, or service needed, there's a button down in the left-hand corner. That means not when they need the quote from you, because by your contract, you should respond within 48 hours, not more. Within 48 hours. But what they put here is when they need it in-house. So if you have the product or service, but you can't meet their date, what you need to do is help them out, because sometimes they just have to say, I did go out and request quotes and nobody could meet what was requested by administration, but the person did it. They need to hear, thank you, but I can't, or thank you, can you let me give you a different date, or open the conversation. It's still a lead for you, but they need to know, you need to know up front when quoting, and they need to know, can you meet it at all, or if you're even interested. Then they have the option to upload photos or specifications. That'll give you even greater detail in trying to create your quote response. And this is just a reminder to do it within 48 hours. So this is how it looks. This is where they put the product or service need by and where they can attach pictures. So this is what you can expect to receive if one of our members is going online trying to get a quote, because pricing might be out there, but they're going to make it specific to their project. Are there any questions about that from vendors? Next. So what I want to take you to now is you go to our homepage, there's a button called About Us, and underneath it, it's all these options right here. And right here is events where we told you you have the location. You can look and see where we're going to be exhibiting. You can come to these exhibits or you can do your own, but we just want you to know. But take a look at what all is here. And there's FAQs here, and the presentations, including today's and the ones prior, are there if you ever need to review it. We have the video of it as well as the PowerPoint. So it's not like you're one and done here today. We're still here for you. Now, this is part of the FAQs and what some of them look like. What you might do when you go back to your office is you might ask some of your sales reps and internal support staff to take a peek at these over time. It might be able to answer probably 75 to 85% of the questions you get. And then when they have customers call in, have their questions, they'll have a set response. Not that we wouldn't be here for other questions, please reach out to us. But this is a good way to get educated on what we are, how we work with you, and what the benefit is to the member. Please. So here we are, just takeaways. We want you to go to the vendor dashboard. So find your company login, go there, review it. Definitely review the marketing resources page, because if you utilize that, you're going to get more out of it. Learn how to teach a member to sign up for a login. Okay. And if you don't know how, get with your contract manager, or you can call me and I can walk you through it. It's very easy, but if you educate them how to open up all the information they have available on the website, you're going to get a customer more quickly. Then we have contract managers have the request form for the member contact list. That's the link that we do everything digitally. At this time, if we have a survey with a QR code on your table, we'd like everybody to take that survey. If you're not going to stay for the next portion, we're going to break for lunch and then come right back. And while you're eating, we're going to have someone present on the job order contracting portion. And if you're not going to stay for that, then please fill out the survey now. Otherwise, if you're going to stay for all of it, you can fill out the survey at the end. We have a question here, just a moment.
Just for clarity on the email marketing side that you guys participate with us.
Yes, sir.
Will you send us the emails and the list for us to email, or do you send it out?
You request the contact list and it will have phone numbers, street addresses and emails. Y'all send it out. We just need to approve it before it goes out to ensure it has everything best describing y'all. But that's a good question. Anything else online or anybody else? Well, thank you very much. I hope to hear from y'all because we love it when you promote your contract. Thank you.
All right. I know lunch is sitting there. I hate to be that person, but just 2 or 3 minutes before lunch. I remember the one question about going on the website and finding past sales. I don't, again, the one thing I always think about when I think about that question is, remember, there's dozens of co-ops out there, and they're not all created equal. We are not only a purchasing cooperative, but we are a governmental entity also. I don't know if that's something, maybe dealing with another co-op, you may find something like that on a website. That's possible. But remember, they're probably a not-for-profit or a for-profit. They're not subject to PIR like we are. My disclaimer is I'm not an attorney, so I'm not giving you legal advice. But there are a lot of things that people do in this world, in the cooperative world, that the entity may be a not-for-profit or for-profit, and they may be able to operate a little differently than we are. They may have these random lead agencies in California or Tennessee or Virginia or whatever that they work with, but they're not the government entity, so they can probably put any of that type stuff on their site. We've had a lot of these guys that go in and take a lot of cooperative data and compare that on their website, kind of a repository. And our attorney's like, no, if we do that once, we basically are saying that it's subject for anyone to inquire for the public, and we can't operate that way as a governmental entity. So we feel as though we use our own contracts. We have to, and we do operate at kind of maybe a little tougher or more rigorous compliance level. We keep your customers out of trouble and we're not able to do some of these things that other people may do if they're just a not-for-profit or just a for-profit. They both kind of operate the same way as far as not having a lot of the guidelines and strict statutes and things like that, state laws to follow that we might have to follow. So yeah, I hate to give you the wrong answer, but we'll probably never have something like that on our website. I thought that and I was like, well, maybe some of these other guys do that. I don't really know, but there's a possibility that it may be out there, that type of information on some of these other co-op websites. All right.
Hello, we're gonna go ahead and start on the JOC presentation. Normally Stephen Kendrick, our assistant director would do it, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it this time. He's out sick. My name is Michael Robles and I am the, hopefully it's not too loud. I'm a contract manager for Choice Partners for JOC. And I'm gonna go over this as quickly as possible. I know we're short on time. So, why JOC? That's part of the presentation. What is the maintenance versus construction? Concepts including trade JOC and quoting versus bidding, and how to legally use a CP JOC contract. Let's see. Why does legal compliance matter? When you're dealing with construction, there's different procurement rules that apply. When working with a job or contracting, we also call it JOC. Public works may be triggered for bonding and prevailing wage requirements. And then if you don't follow the correct procurement law, you're definitely going to have delays in your project, possible over budgeting, possible fiscal responsibility for our members. And so we make sure that for construction, like 2269, government code 2269 and Texas code 44.031 are legally procured, and we follow all the steps for it. So when it comes to job work contracting, you have two different aspects, and it's going to be on the next slide, but I'll talk about it briefly here. You have time and material, which is going to be for your maintenance part. And then you also have your construction part, which is through like RS Means or another different unit price book. So with construction services, only method allowed in Texas for undefined projects or IDIQ projects would be under Texas Government Code 44.031. In that, for construction projects, not maintenance, but in construction projects, you can't use time and material. You have to use a unit price book. And so for the vendors that have turned in pricing for their full-blown JOC, which we just closed one for the general contractor bid, they turned in their RS Means, which is what your RS Means coefficient pricing, which is what you will use to price your jobs. So what is JOC? JOC is a procurement method for maintenance, repair, alteration, renovation, remediation, or minor construction. It is a work that is occurring in nature, but the times, quantities, and types are undefined, also known as IDIQ. When looking at a project, you're looking at maintenance versus construction. Like I was talking about earlier, what are some factors to consider maintenance versus construction? Some questions you may ask or a member may ask would be, is it like for like? The scale and complexity of the project, and then what is actually being worked on. Whenever a HVAC vendor goes to replace a new AC unit, is it like for like? And based on scale and complexity, usually that would not be like for like, because usually if they're replacing AC unit, it could be that it's 15, 20 years old. And of course, if we replace one with one that's today, definitely the equipment's been upgraded, definitely new software. So that would be a construction project. Mainly the only thing we would use for maintenance would be maybe on the AC unit if they're just replacing a belt or replacing a certain component of that AC unit, that would probably be maintenance. You have a contract through Choice Partners. Part of the triangle that we have here, we have the interlocal agreement with our members whom you are trying to buy from. You've been awarded a contract through Choice Partners. And so now we have an agreement. And so now the member can go directly to you and create you a job order contract or a PO. But under construction, you have to make sure you do like a service or contractor agreement with them. Because on the next slide, statute requires a written and signed agreement. So not just a PO. So when you're in construction, if you're working with a member, if they're going to give you a PO, you should also have a supplemental contract with that member, just to make sure that it's signed by you and also signed by the member. And that would be the completion of an actual contract. It's been brought up before that a PO usually only has the member's signature on there, so that wouldn't qualify as a contract. So when we're, again, with working with job order contracting, part of that is governments can select vendors without having to use their own procurement process because they're using the Choice Partners contract. That only satisfies the procurement requirement, but not the contracting requirement, which is why you have that third sign agreement, making sure that both you and the member have signed off on it. So what's included in a job estimate? Got to have your contract number through Choice Partners. You're going to use, if it's a construction project, you're going to use the unit price book, which is also going to have the city cost index. And usually that's all through RS Means. And hopefully when I show you the slide with the RS Means example, you can see that it's on there. If you're a full blown contract, general contractor, and you're using a subcontractor, you're going to be responsible for making sure the subcontractor does their work. If they don't use RS Means to submit their pricing, then you'd be required to submit the RS Means for their pricing. Steve, my slide's not working. I asked you not to be in there, please. I asked you not to get in there. Okay. All right. I got it. So I asked Mary Cossey, the compliance specialist, who would be receiving the jock estimates, because usually when a member works with you, they're going to ask for us to compliance check your contract, make sure the quote is compliant. So I asked Mary if she could just go over this because she's the one that receives them.
Good afternoon. I am Mary Causey, Contract Compliance Specialist for Choice Partners. Many of you may not know me and some of you may based on emails or phone conversations. We don't normally get involved in the relationship between you, the vendor, and the member unless we are asked to do so. The member is more likely to call or email and say, hey, can you review this quote for compliance? And that's where I come in. I review what you have provided to them to ensure that you have included all the necessary components of the RS Means estimate or the hourly rates. In some cases, you all provide services based on hourly rates and materials provided, right? So from there, I would review the quote to ensure that you've done, as Michael stated, the city cost index, which localizes the hourly rates for that area. You could be doing business in Houston, Fort Worth, Dallas, and those city cost index are going to vary depending upon where the jobs are being done. And it is based on where the jobs are, not necessarily where your offices are or where you may be working from here to there, because many of you work throughout the entire state. The other part of it is that you have to make sure that you're using the correct data release. Many of you know what it means to have materials and the pricing changes from day to day, month to month, and quarterly. The RS Means unit price book is updated on a quarterly basis. Therefore, you want to make sure that you're using the correct data release. You don't want to bid a job today and the member comes back to you 6 months later and said, hey, I'm ready to do that job. And now your pricing is very different, right? So you want to make sure you're using the correct data release to coincide with whatever your contract is. You may also consider putting a time limit on it. Again, anywhere from 30, 60 to 90 days, whatever you and the member come to an agreement on. Again, because material pricing changes. The bid coefficient is extremely important because you're actually offering the member a discount. So you need to take that into account. City costs, the coefficient, overhead pricing, data release, non-pre-priced line items. They can be your friend. Those are usually line items that you can use when you cannot find that item in the unit price book. It's rare, but it does happen. When that occurs, you will have to get additional documentation to support that new line item, meaning that you will have to get 3 quotes to support what you're offering the member. The member gets to decide which one of those quotes that they will accept. But with that being said, once you create that line item, it becomes a permanent part of your unit price book. So you have to give it deep consideration when you use non-pre-priced line items. You can, but if you can not do that, that would really be great. When you're doing permits and what have you, those are pass-through items, meaning that you don't make any money on it. We don't consider it part of the admin fee. It is simply a pass-through cost to the member. Adjustment factors in Division 1. Division 1 is one of those things that you can use. You have to have justification for it. In most cases, cleanup and things like that, rental equipment. All of that can be in Division 1. And under most circumstances, it is acceptable. Again, you just have to have justification for doing so. And that's usually a conversation between you and the member. As far as adjustment factors are concerned, those are the items that you would be using if you were working in an office where there were people or students, because you have to take into account that you're working where you could put someone in a difficult situation, meaning you're working around them. So you would need an adjustment factor for that, as well as working 40 feet in the air. That would be a justifiable adjustment factor. The other thing, Michael, if you could go over to the estimate. I think that pretty much covers it. One of the items that would be your best friend, sometimes you have to use the adjustment factors, as I mentioned. Your notes section will allow you to have clarification there. That will help you identify what you're really doing. And in some cases, you may find a line item that is similar to what you may use. It's not exact, but it could be similar. Your notes section will allow you to make that clarification. Anybody got any questions? Okay.
And then I think Mary didn't mention this, but the if there's a bond, that's a pass-through cost. So on the estimate at the bottom, that would not be applicable to the Choice Partners admin fee. So with Mary, you may want to, if you have a project that's going on in which you're going to use RS means, there's no harm in sending that to Choice Partners for us to review prior to sending it to the member. Usually they'll speed up your process as far as the member approving your work order. So if you want to send it to us ahead of time, more than happy to take a look at it. There is no additional cost to you for that service. It's just a service that we provide with doing business with Choice Partners. Oh, we're over here. We have one question.
Is the RS means estimate always needed when providing a proposal to the member?
The RS means is only required if, well, it's like a twofold question, but yes, you should always have the RS means if you're doing a construction project. The member may not request it, but a lot of times they're going to send it to Choice Partners for review, and then we're going to request it. So if you have it done ahead of time, you're going to save yourself some time. And then once we get the request, we can just send it over to the member and say, hey, it's compliant, you can do work. If the member does not request it, then you wouldn't necessarily send it. But again, I would have it ready and available, because if they send it to us, which you don't know if they will or they won't, but if they send it to us for a compliance check, we're going to always ask for it. If they don't request it, then you wouldn't have to turn it to them. But again, you should have it available. Exactly, for compliance.
Yeah, but to be compliant with the contract, when it's construction, you need that line item estimate. Whether they send it to us or not, they should have it on file, because if they're ever audited and it's not there, that will be a problem. Exactly. The other thing is, and I neglected to say this previously, if you're using a subcontractor, if the subcontractor doesn't have RS means pricing themselves, then you can price that for them.
So again, you don't have to turn it into them, but you should have it on file, again, for compliance purposes and then for the compliance checks. Because it also looks a lot better if you have it and they ask for it and you can just give it to them right away. Let's see. So the job order is issued by the governmental entity. You want to have that third party, that supplemental agreement signed by both parties, the member and the vendor. So it's a legal binding contract. It protects you and protects the members. It's going to state the scope of work, the pricing, the jobs that are to be provided, and then also it will detail the prevailing wage rates. The difference between bidding and quoting. So you've turned in your pricing with Choice Partners. A lot of times the members are going to require that you also, our pricing, like we discussed previously, was IDIQ. So we're not giving pricing on a specific project. We're using the unit price book for construction project. So when a member comes to you and asks for you to, on this particular project, to quote them, you're not doing the process all over again. You're just giving them the exact pricing for that project. Because when you turn in your RS means pricing to us, the coefficient, it wasn't for any particular project. So you want to make sure when you provide that quote to them, you're giving them, like it says here, vendor provides the job specific pricing in writing. And that's what a quote is. So just make sure most importantly that the Choice Partners contract number is both on the PO and the quote. That ensures the member understands that you are quoting them a Choice Partners contract. If you're doing work with any member and they don't mention the Choice Partners contract, being a part of Choice Partners, you might want to just mention it to them and ask them, are we using the Choice Partners contract? If they say they're not, then you can encourage them to use the Choice Partners contract for legal compliance reasons and to ensure that they're covered. Choice Partners is going to need, for reporting purposes, a copy of your PO when you get it from the member, and then we're asking that you report monthly your activity. The report that we get for the construction is not in here, but it's going to look very similar to this one, except we're going to have two sections on it. Top section is going to be for your reported activity, and then the bottom, and it might be vice versa. Well, one section is going to be for the activity that you've received, and then the bottom portion is going to be for the activity that's already been paid to you. When you look up the difference between their Excel spreadsheet and ours, because our projects are longer in term, that's why there's those two different sections. So we can make sure that you've been invoiced only for what you've been paid. I didn't see that, that slide in here. Was it slide 20? Okay. Did anybody have any questions? Were there any questions in chat?
We had one, but we can ask it, actually. We had a question that was asking, how can we see this presentation again? If you will email your contract manager, he can send you over the Zoom link because we are recording it. And I think I've got another question on here, but it's not clear. So I'll get back to the person asking and figure out what he wants to ask because I didn't quite understand it.
So the question was, will recording be available tomorrow? I'm not sure exactly a time frame on it, usually within a week. It'll be listed under the Choice Partners website under, I believe, events or about us. But this presentation that we gave will be available.
All right. I just had a couple final thoughts. Our JOC program it's kind of one of our aces in the whole. And I think Michael did a great presentation stepping in at the last minute, but and Mary has kind of taken over what we had a guy named Stephen doing in the past. And I always said it was our secret weapon because some of the things that we do, we not only, I heard someone say we keep our customers compliant or whatever. Oh, that's Millennium, but we keep our customers compliant. And that's exactly what we do. And our name out there in the marketplace is send it to Choice Partners. They know what they're doing. And typically, Mary, what's the turnaround by looking at a quote that someone sends us, line item?
24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
And that is very dependent upon the vendor getting back to me if I am requesting additional information.
So
the sooner the better.
Yeah, so we will not be, for all intents and purposes, we will not be a cog in your process on the project or your quote or whatever's going on. We will not necessarily slow it down. I think you had a meeting within the last couple of days and you were there at 2 p.m. and they had sent something in at 9 a.m. and you'd already given it to them before the 2 p.m. meeting. Very large school district, very large contractor here in the Houston area. And they're like, oh yeah, that's kind of how Choice operates. A lot of other people won't even do that, number one, in our space, in the cooperative space, or they'll do it and say, give us 1 to 2 weeks, and then they'll send it out to a third party and charge everybody, and it becomes a nightmare. So anyway, it's something that we're very, very proud of. One of the other measuring sticks is I'm a native Houstonian, but Hurricane Harvey in 2017. We did, hundreds of millions of dollars of construction, $0 deobligated. And what that means is the federal government comes in disasters and they say, did these guys do everything right? Because FEMA, the OIG, Office of Inspector General, TDM, Texas Department of Emergency Management, every one of those guys, they'll say, yeah, we're going to give you $20 million or $3 million or whatever the number is. 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, they want to go through and start looking at this stuff with a fine-tooth comb. We didn't have a penny deobligated to our knowledge. I mean, zero. And there were a lot of people in our space, a lot of school districts that did stuff on their own, separate. FEMA says, yeah. And then in the hurry of getting this disaster addressed, here's the money. Then they come back and they say, oh, we deobligate. That means they take back because you didn't do it right. We did it right the first time. A lot of other people in our space, whether they're school districts or even other co-ops, are kind of trying to be like Choice Partners. So with Mary and Michael and a lot of the people in our group, even Stephen that's not here, he's one of our rock stars. People are trying to be like us. So let us help you grow your business, do it right, work with your customer, keep them compliant, and give you a good name out there in the marketplace, because we know good news travels fast if you're doing the right thing. On the flip side, bad news travels faster, right? So make sure we try and do the right thing, the first time. And we've got a lot of proof in the pudding for years and years and years by doing the right thing and having a great track record, great name, and great recognition out there. I just trying to think of any of the other stuff. that was up there I wanted to expound on. I just wanted to kind of accentuate some of the things that Mary and Michael had talked about. So anyway, but we hope, I tried to walk around a little bit after or during, and we hope we've kind of enlightened you on just in general who Choice Partners is, how we operate, how we can help. And I'm glad to see a room full here also. I'm glad that we have our friends virtual too, but I'm a strong preference and lover of the in-person, but I know a lot of the folks online may not be logistically close, but we thank you for joining, and we hope you guys learned a lot. Again, I see people taking pictures of the slide. It's part of the slideshow, but these are all the folks that can help you. Hopefully, oh shoot, they stuck my name on there too. But anyway, no, we've got everybody here. I like to say, look, all these folks are coming in. It's like they're coming into our house. We want to make them welcome. We want to try and help them. That's all we get paid to do. We don't make anything. We don't deliver anything. We don't manufacture anything. We don't warehouse anything. We're just basically subject matter experts, so to speak. I would never call myself an expert, but kind of subject matter experts on method of procurement, how to help you guys get a decent price and get stuff going, get stuff shipped, get projects done quicker without having to go through all this street bid and public solicitation and all that kind of stuff. That's what Jock does. That's what Choice in general, any cooperative does with their vendors. So with that, if there are no other questions, I think we might get you out. Oh, geez, we're early. So that's good. So anything else? But yeah, just use us. That's what we're there for. We've got people in place that are experienced and they know what they're doing and they want to help. And I'm sure once you experience it a little bit, you'll be like, okay, the proof's in the pudding. It's good. We want to help you. We want to help you grow. We want to help you do your projects. We want to help you do them right, do them quickly. We also want you to make money too. And so anyway, thank you for coming. If we'll be around here for a couple of minutes, if anybody wants to talk or visit and get a soft drink or whatever, if you want on the way home, get your virtual soft drink also. And thank you for coming.